After 12 days of fierce fighting, a fragile ceasefire is holding between Israel and Iran tonight.
Meantime, a classified finding appears to contradict President Trump's claim that U.S. fighter jets destroyed Iran's nuclear facilities. Lindsay Pena joins us live from the KTLA News Center with today's developments. Lindsay?
Sharon, Micah, several outlets, including the New York Times and Reuters, now saying that sources familiar with a preliminary report on those strikes are reporting the bombing only damaged the nuclear facilities and didn't collapse the underground buildings. And late this afternoon, CNN now reporting that Israel is saying the same. The sites were not destroyed. The White House disputing that, though, saying the intelligence report was flat out wrong and an attempt to demean President Trump, who earlier claimed the facilities were obliterated. This all as the world waits to see what will happen in the Middle East. After 12 days of conflict, signs Tuesday that a ceasefire deal between Israel and Iran would hold, despite getting off to a shaky start.
I'm not happy about that.
Less than 24 hours after declaring the truce, President Trump lashed out at both sides.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Iran denies it violated the terms of the deal, but explosions were heard in northern Israel Tuesday morning. Israel confirms it returned fire. They also launched 2 missiles just before the deal went into effect. Leaders from both countries now claiming victory. Republicans hope cooler heads prevail. Senator Lindsey Graham says he just hopes the president's plan works.
A ceasefire leads to peace is a really good thing. If the ceasefire leads to rearming and regrouping of Iran, is probably a step backwards.
Democrats, meanwhile, are demanding answers. They argue the president should have never launched Saturday's strike against Iran's nuclear facilities without consulting Congress.
What have they got to hide?
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer says the White House canceled an intelligence briefing scheduled Tuesday, leaving Congress in the dark yet again.
They called me up and said, we're taking imminent action. We can't tell you what country. That's the extent to the briefing I've gotten.
Northern California Democratic Congressman Ami Bera is on the Select Committee on Intelligence and tells me in an interview this afternoon he's heard the briefing may be rescheduled for Friday.
I think it's really important for all the members of Congress to hear directly from the administration, the Secretary of Defense, and others, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Director of National Intelligence, and also to have a chance to ask some of the questions that are on folks' minds.
As for the reports that the U.S. strikes weren't as effective as previously thought, he thinks it's yet another reason the administration should provide as much information as possible.
This is a very fluid situation.
President Trump is now in the Netherlands for a NATO summit. The 12-day conflict sparked protests as world leaders arrived there and is likely to be a topic at the summit. France and others are calling for de-escalation to prevent a broader war in the Middle East. In the news center, Lindsay Pena, KTLA 5 News.